Hello, everyone. Welcome to this pitch masterclass for Hackaroo. Super happy to be here to give you all the tips and techniques for you to build a great pitch and to win Cypherpunk Hackathon. My name is Sofian. I'm the founder of Legends.fun. Legends.fun is a platform for products to showcase and to get visibility and traction, which is very strategic to win a hackathon or to raise funds. Today, I will share with you what you should do, what we are expecting, and what the judges are expecting at the end of the process so that your submission is the winning one. Today, about the agenda, we start with the common mistakes to avoid and more about the pitch mindset that you should have when you build your pitch. After that, we will go through like a slide-by-slide analysis of the whole structure that you need in your pitch with real examples, so that you really have to take this framework, apply it to your pitch, and already have a super good presentation. I will quickly talk about traction. That's something that is strategic to have within your pitch. It's not just about having a great concept, but also showing that you engage users and you have people using your MVP. So we'll quickly talk about that. And if you have any questions, I will have 5-10 minutes at the end to cover that. What I'm doing about my pitch coaching practice, I've been training 50 plus builders so far, mostly with super teams or ecosystem players and matching with the key momentums of the Solana ecosystem like Solana Mobile or startup villages. I also do one-on-one coaching around 50 the last 2 months. This is to give builders a real revamp of their pitch. I play the judge and we revamp the pitch together. There is also a community that I encourage you to check out and join. It's called DePitch in public. This is visible on my Twitter account. Anyone can post a video of their pitch, and myself and our alumni will also be able to give you feedback. So it's also good. I think you're familiar now with the build in public, but pitch in public is also really important so that you keep on refining your pitch until the end of the hackathon. So in terms of track record, the students I had won 13 Colosseum prizes. They raised $1.2 million within a few months after coaching in pre-seed. And 3 teams got into the Colosseum Accelerator. So I hope that today you join this community and our alumni and you make your win in the Cypherpunk like all those teams here that we've worked with. So let's jump into it. This is you at the end of the hackathon when you're ready to push the submission button, like you're ready to fight the final boss of the hackathon. You have all you need. You're already going for the win. But what happens is that many builders arrive and finish the hackathon like this. So they didn't go through all the needed quests to gear up and get all they need to beat the final boss. So that's not what you want to do. Now, I think you're unlocking kind of a cheat code that not all builders will have. So you're already putting yourself in really good conditions, because in all the coaching I did and also the pitch roasting session, judging session, what I see the most is that many builders still come up with no framework. It means that they don't know exactly what's expected in a pitch. They usually do it last minute. So I like that we do this session now as you still have time to build a really strong pitch, but you don't rush it last minute because usually it's too late. Also, they don't rehearse much. The winners of Colosseum that I've coached rehearse in average like from 20 to 50 times their 3-minute pitch. So it means that it's not just a one shot. When the slide is ready, you just shoot your video. It's really about doing it again and again to fine tuning to the very last transition effect so that it's really perfect. They also sometimes have a weak traction. So I still see projects coming to the hackathon with no MVP or no users, no testers. So they are just at the concept level. And this concept level usually, even if it might be a great problem you identified, a great concept will not be enough to make it through to a victory in the hackathon. And so eventually they don't have a proven business. So we cannot trust them in the fact that they will build a successful company because they haven't started yet. If you listen up and apply those advice, you will definitely not be in this category. And if you think about it, the pitch is your team's most valuable asset. It's the turning point between all what you've built, all your hard work and all the hours building something and what you can unlock with your pitch. So all the potential of value that you can unlock. Here it's like hackathon win, but hackathon win is a bit of money. It's also visibility and even maybe having interest from investors. So it's really strategic for your growth. That's really how you should take this exercise seriously and put the right intention in it. And if you do it well for this hackathon, once you know how to pitch well, you keep it with you forever. So you're able to do a great pitch for other hackathons, for investors. You're able to pitch grants because getting a grant is also a pitch. And of course, you can engage like customers if you do B2B partners, close deals. So that's really a tool you can reuse in many different situations, just tweaking a bit part of it, but 80% of your pitch will stay the same. So once you do it right, you can use it again and again. So let's jump into the playground. So if you want to win Colosseum Cypherpunk, and even for the Hackaroo sidetrack that you have here in Australia and New Zealand, it's a competition. So it's a competition with many teams that will all work hard and all get to this 5-week process to push something and to submit something. If we take the previous hackathon of Colosseum, like Breakout, 1.4K submissions, which means that if you do an average pitch or like a bad pitch, your chances directly drop to 0. So you might as well not do the whole process at all. And let's check out why 90% of pitches fail. And please remember that and start with these common mistakes you want to avoid. The first reason is if there is no hook. So the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds of your pitch are really important. This is where you catch the attention of the judge, and this is where you can keep this attention all the way. So if there is nothing interesting or nothing catchy at first, it's really hard to have an interest. The second reason is if there is no trust. So trust comes from obviously like if you have real traction that you can prove, it's instantly proving trust that, you know, there is value and you have a kind of a fit with the market or you're solving a need properly. But if you speak conceptually in terms of what you think and you don't prove the facts of what you say by real data, we will start to doubt all what you say. So if you have the slightest doubt about a data you say or about the statement you make, it's easy for us to quickly not follow or believe in the rest of the pitch. And it's very important. It's no real pain. So usually, and you will see that the beginning of a pitch is usually introduction, hook, and explaining a problem that users have. If this problem is not clear, or if it's too soft, like nice to solve, not worth solving, then the rest of the pitch doesn't work because it seems like you're doing a nice to have solution. It doesn't seem you're solving something big. The pitch will fail. Number 4, if your slides are really crowded, and I will tell you the good examples, but I think you saw presentations that you have many things on a slide, like complex charts, a lot of text, like all of this is killing your clarity. So you want to avoid and you want to simplify a lot of your messages and your slides design. And the last one, if nothing is memorable, because the attention is very limited for judges, they will see a lot of pitches. If you don't have something that really stands out, that we can really associate with your name, your company name, oh, they do this. And they do this because that's the only thing we will remember is 1 or 2 key facts about you. And if in the pitch there is nothing like that, it's just following the good practice, nothing that we can remember, and we're excited to talk to someone else, or we're excited to meet you again, then it's not a working pitch. So how to avoid that? We will see that today. Another thing I really want to insist on is what not to say in a pitch. And I say that because maybe 60, 70% of the pitch I see first will use that, and it will really destroy the effect they have. So what you want to avoid is uncertainty verbs, what we're trying to do, what we're hoping to see in the market, what we imagine for the future, and so on. So all those verbs are having the same common idea, is that it's a potential, it's a maybe. And in a pitch, you want to be all as if facts, present and future. but not anything that is related to something potential. So this will show that you didn't do your homework, that you don't know exactly what you're talking about, that you're not sure. So this is not the mindset and the posture that you want to have as a founder. The second thing is the conditional forms. It would be our what we should do, what could happen, what we might do next month. All of those conditional forms as well is killing the effect of trusting you. So you just want to remove all of them and replace them by present tense. Like, this is what we do. This is where we're going. This is what we built, right? Keep the same message, but just change the form, and it will completely change how we perceive your presentation. And the last one is the future tense. So the only slide you want to use future tense is your roadmap when you talk about what's happening next quarter and so on. Aside from that, you will remove all future tense from your pitch and you will use the present tense instead. This is tricky all in this slide because it's not something we can see on your slide deck. It's how you present yourself, how you voice over your presentation. And it's hard to identify as well if you don't have like someone to see your pitch and give you feedback like a coach, but also if you don't record your pitch and see it by yourself and just try to identify any kind of small words like filling words or all of these potential or conditional forms that will clutter your presentation and really kill the effect of we want to trust you, we know where you're going, we want to believe in you, or we want to follow you in what's next. So now what to do? You will prep your pitch and you will pitch like this. Not like on the left, which is we built something and now we're going to tell you what we built and how it works and what it is and so on. So this pitch never works. It's usually missing a lot of the key elements of a successful pitch. Instead, you will of course pitch that you built something, but you will focus a lot about how people use it and how is it desirable, meaning who is willing to pay for it, or how do you capture a value in your business model out of it with real usage. And this is exactly how you will present with this triangle, combining the elements of the MVP. So this triangle is actually the minimum viable product triangle. It means that you need to have something that we can try, you need to have people using it, and you need to have people who wants to pay for it. So that's how you want to pitch. The second mindset is the elevator pitch mindset. It means if you're 10 seconds in the lift with someone really important for your project, maybe an investor, maybe a big client, and you want to say something to catch attention and to engage in conversation or maybe partnership or investment. So what would you say? And think about those 10 seconds, this mini elevator pitch that you always should have with you anytime, like when you go to an event, when you meet someone, when you start a call about partnership. So it means that you cannot say everything. You have to pick what's the most unique, different, and interesting. Because your goal is not to close something right now, it's to lead to a next step that you will have more time or exposure to explain and to discuss a partnership or an investment, which means that your pitch is a teaser. You stand out by being concise and easy to understand, not by sharing everything. That's really important. And I know it's really frustrating because you have a lot of things you want to say, like maybe in 5 weeks, you did so many things you're proud of, but you need to filter out what's really outstanding and what's really easy to follow. If you try to put a lot of data or content in 3 minutes and you go fast, it will not work. We will not have time to catch the main messages. We will not have time to follow a flow that is clear. And we will just feel overwhelmed by content and we will want to scroll or to see another pitch. And the third mindset here is about the audience. It's actually how building a pitch starts is, okay, who is going to watch it? So go to the Cypherpunk Colosseum webpage. You can see all the judges. And you will see you need to match what they're expecting. So you need to match what they're talking about, what they're interested in, what they might know or what they might not know, because that's how you create an effect of something surprising or interesting for them. So spend time to really study and check like all of the judges, what they are tweeting about. And remember that they will see a lot of pitches when they will judge, and they will just see videos. So you need to stand out more than ever and hook them and to have them remember you. Otherwise, they will just swipe. I say that because something you should know, it's not because you recorded and published like a 3-minute video that all of the audience and judges will watch it through the end. In IRL events, after a few 20, 30 seconds, when you are the audience, if you're not really hooked by something, you will just start to talk to your neighbors or check your Twitter or Telegram conversations and stuff. So you will drop and your interest and focus will drop. So it's really, and I'm the same, we drop attention very fast if we're not really engaged or interested or hooked. So it's not because you speak that people are listening. That's the message here. And for the video, it's the same. It's not because you recorded the video that the judge will watch it till the end. They can easily stop it at 20 seconds and just watch the next speech. And then they will give you a bad ranking because you didn't seem interesting. So if there is anything complex or that we doubt in your pitch, the audience will also be out. So it's not just about hooking the audience. It's also about being clear and trustworthy. Otherwise, if we doubt something about your problem, we don't think it's a real problem, or we doubt your traction, maybe it looks too good to be true. It's easy to fake, especially all the social media. So anything in this area about doubting what you say, or if it's too complex, like I don't have time to try to understand. What you need to know, if we need to think 5 seconds to understand a concept, it means that you didn't explain it in a simple way. And because of this attention that is watching a lot of pitches in a row, if something complicated, they will just feel like, okay, I don't get what they say. They look too complex. And they judge like that is because it will have the same effect on anyone else, like a partner, like an investor. So they cannot trust that you can scale fast or make a successful business if you're not able to simplify your messages. For instance, after 30 seconds, they stop listening. They will never come back. So never lose your audience. And every 30 seconds, you need to think, okay, now how do I earn the next 30? And how do I earn the next 30? And you need to create transitions, effects, strong facts, so that every 30 seconds has something memorable that we want to know what's next and what's next. I will go into the slide by slide very soon. Just before that, I will briefly share what makes an audience hook, because I'm talking about hooking the audience, right? But what does it mean? It means that the best way and the very easiest way is to have a bold opening and having a surprising insight. If you share something new or in an angle that I never heard, I would like, okay, I never saw it this way. Interesting. And then I want to know what's next. So giving something new, giving a learning, really easy way to do a good hook. And to do that, what you need again is audience empathy, because you need to assess what they might know and what they might not know if you want to create this surprising insight effect. You need to have a really clear and relatable problem. Either the judge is a potential user, it means that they had the problem themselves, the problem you're solving, so they can relate like, oh yeah, that's true, it's really painful. Or they're out of your user scope, so you need to explain it with examples and data so that they can project themselves and relate to the problem of someone else, even if they didn't feel it themselves. And the last one is like confidence and being authentic. It's really important. In the end, many investors or experts in the startup ecosystem usually say, at this stage of development, we know you're able to pivot or to change things very fast. So it's more about, do I trust the team? Do I like the team? Do I believe the team is amazing and whatever they do, it will be gold and I want to follow? So you need to show your passion. You need to show your authenticity as a founder. Not just that, oh, I found a problem, I developed a solution, it's cool. but really something that you will fight for and you will continue to fight for many years because you really believe in what you do. And even if it's the case, I'm only talking here about how we perceive what you do. So the pitch is not an exercise about what's real. It's an exercise about making a reality. So how you pitch with the tense, talked about the present tense and so on, but here in terms of authenticity and anything you will say, actually, you are the owner and the master of the content. So if it's built well and it makes sense, then we will follow and trust what you say. So what I'm saying here is not that pitch is completely different from reality. I'm just sharing that you have the power to create the environment and the image of your own character that you want. So it's not actually exactly you speaking, it's you performing. So it's someone like, usually I think about someone in front of me that is not really me, but me. That is the public figure that will play a pitch. Like I will act in a pitch. I'm not pitching same as I'm talking with my friends. I'm pitching in a specific way that will push authenticity and that will push my passion and why I'm motivated to fight and to solve this problem. Oppositely, what really makes you lose your audience, and that's something I see a lot, if they don't get what you do in the first 1 minute, and for instance, some presentations, we discover the solution after minute 2, which means like for 2 minutes, you're talking about the context, a problem, a market, but we don't still see what you do. So the solution can never come too late. It needs to arrive like maximum 1 minute, but even before, like within 30 to 40 seconds is best, because after the solution is revealed, you still have a lot of things to say. You will see that soon. So if it's not clear what you do, and at first glance, I usually stop listening. The second one I've shared about that, but if you use dense or technical slides, it's also the best way to lose your audience, especially non-technical judges. They'll be like, why are you talking about how and all the what's behind? Of course, we need to understand some sort of the technology you're using, but not too much. That's not a product pitch. It's not a technical pitch. It's a business pitch. So also make sure that you focus on the business rather than the technology. And the last one is if you go flat, if you go, okay, first the problem we solve, our solution, the market, like something very monotonous. You need to create effects. You need to create transitions between slides. Sometimes you need to go fast. Sometimes you need to smile. Sometimes you need to go more down because you talk about something deep about the problem. It's like using emotions, using your voice, and using slides as well, of course. That's how you fix this problem of being too monotonous, which many do at first because it depends on cultures, but no one is born like amazing pitcher. Like it's something you need to learn. In some cultures, you learn to present publicly in front of others, like a lot at school. Wherever you come from, it's not usually something we learn a lot. So it's an exercise that you can master only with practice, and then you will start to enjoy it. So in a 3-minute pitch, keep in mind that your slides are here to support your message and not distract from it. What I mean by that is that if there is too much text on the slides and I start trying to understand what's written, I will stop listening to you. So you will lose the attention and it will be hard to catch. So use slides to push the main messages you have, but not so that people start to read them, then you lose them. I see some people also having too simple decks. They go completely opposite ways of what most people do. And remember that some people are visual learners. So if they don't see the key messages written at some point, they will not remember them. Some people catch messages by hearing them. So the voice is enough, but others have a visual memory. So you need to both kind of audiences. So the slide must be very clean, simple, focused, like one slide, one message. And here I want to share that there is no minimum or maximum slides in a pitch deck. Like sometimes you see 10 slide maximum or blah, blah, blah. No, I don't believe in that. What matters is not the number of slides. Because if you have a one big slide with just 3 words to make an effect and transition to another slide, or if you have a complex slide with 3 different features and you want to make 3 slides instead, it will be the same time that you will use in the end, will make your pitch more easy to follow for yourself and for the audience. So there is no such thing as a slide. Just make sure that one slide is just one message and not like succession of different messages. So you don't want to have one slide with, okay, we have a problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, and to solve that, our solution is doing solution 1, solution 2, solution 3. Like this slide never works. It's showing that you were not able to identify your core problem and that you come up with a solution that is solving this problem. So that's just an example to illustrate how to use the one slide, one message rule. And some disclaimer before I go to the structure. So don't slide design you saw before. It's obviously not a 3-minute pitch I'm doing here. It's like learning, training content. Don't copy this slide design. This advice and the structure I will share right now is working great for hackathons, for grants, for investments. So it's a structure you can use for very different touch points. And number 3, test and learn. So if you see anything good that you want to apply to your pitch today, try it, record, and share with your team or your friends or anyone that can give you feedback, and iterate, and test and learn. Like it, as I shared, it's not like a process that you will work on slides for 3 weeks and the last 2 days you will record. You take a big risk that actually we don't understand something you say or something is not clear enough. So you want to get a lot on your pitch. And the best way for that is not to send someone slides or hop on a call. It's really to record on Loom and share this link of 3 minutes, ask for feedback and record again and again. Second part of this masterclass, how a good pitch looks. So I will use example of 3 teams I've worked with for the last hackathon. So first, the intro slide. So what is a good intro slide? You need to have your logo, that is usually also your name. You need to have a one liner. And this one liner is not like a vision. It's not we transform the future of trading and so on. It needs to be something about what you do, like concretely, what is your solution? And this needs to be very simple that everyone understands. If you're recording on Loom, obviously you have your small face speaking here, so you don't need, but if you like in an event, you can also add your PFP and your name so that we associate the name and your role in the company with the company name. Something very important here is that it's the first time we discover who you are. And it's the first time I see your name, I see your design. So I'm entering your world and I'm entering your brand. So it really cannot be rushed. And all what I say is from real life experience. I see people rushing a slide in 3 seconds, jumping to something else. Then I will feel rushed myself and I will feel stressed as an audience, maybe unconsciously, but I will feel like, what's happening here? So you need to take your time, slowly state, hi, my name is, I'm the founder of, and what we do is blah, blah, blah. Small pause, 2 seconds, and then you go to the problem slide. Remember to make a pause, especially in this slide, because we're getting used to see maybe some design, the name. We need to remember the name. If you go too fast, after 3 more slides, I forget your name, the name of your company or your project. That's also not something you want to happen. In the next slide, you don't want to have any summary. You jump directly into your problem slide. Problem slide it can be very simple. It's like a main problem that you solve. And it cannot be 3 different problems. You need to have one major problem that you solve. For instance, Loot Go here, that is like Pokemon Go for crypto. You just go and check with your phone and you can unlock some tokens as a reward. So here the problem they share is like people move less because digital dopamine wins, meaning people stay in their room trading on their computer, they don't move enough and it's bad for health. Very basic idea, anyone can understand. And they use a bit of data to explain the problem or to illustrate the size or the impact of the problem. So here on the right side, you can see they say that 1 in 3 people are physically inactive and adults spend 6 to 7 hours per day on screens. So you will have one big problem and then you will have 2 to 3 facts. It can be data, it can be a fact that will illustrate how big is the problem or how is the problem affecting the user. So here it's very important that the data you use is like we can trust it's true. Of course, you will not mention the source of the data. You don't have time in 3 minutes. You will not even put like source, blah, blah, in the bottom of the slide. So we need to trust it's true. It needs to make sense. And from there, you will move to the solution. So value proposition is a transition slide between the problem and your product. The value proposition is like one promise you make to the user. So imagine you speak to your user. How would you motivate them to use and try your product? That's what a value proposition is. And inside, we need to quickly see that there is value for me. I will win something if I do something like an action or in your product. So it's one sentence as well. So for instance, here, Crypto Fantasy League, you can multiply your money in any market condition. So basically, you make more money, healthier and wealthier, turn your daily life into a treasure hunt. So it means I promise you that if you use LootGo, you make profits, but at the same time, you will be healthier because you will walk a lot in your city to discover all those boxes. That's how you make a value proposition. This must come very naturally after the problem slide and look like you directly solve the problem. So once you have this transition, you can go to your product. What you will do before showing any demonstration, you will put up the top 2 or top 3 main features of your solution. What the product does, how does it work in a very simple way. If you have 3 features, what I usually recommend is to use animations. So you have one feature appearing on the screen, one after the other, so that we don't try to read all of them, but we really follow your flow. So when you say something, it appears. Second one, it appears. And this way you make sure the audience is following you really clearly. That's the intro of the product. Some people are visual learners. They just need to understand quickly, oh, okay, it's ABC. And then you will have your demo. So what is a good demo? A good demo is we need to understand from end to end the user experience, from creating an account, connecting a wallet, making a transaction, like how do I use, and until the point that I get the value. Remember the value proposition. So in the demo, we need to see the value proposition in action. So what you should do as well is to film a demo of your solution, but I don't recommend to add extra effects or music or voiceover. I recommend to have it soundless, and you will comment what's happening on the demo. In this way, you will keep the whole flow of the pitch. It will not look like there is a big break and then you come back. And you will basically comment what's happening, what the user is doing. So here I go, I click here, this appears, I do that, and then I receive that. So that's what a good demo is about, a real usage of the solution and the full flow of the user experience. Don't rush it as well. Like I see many demo going fast, and this, again, it's not working because we don't have time to digest what's happening. So you need to do a slow demo. Even if you don't show all the features, you need to pick what's the most different that you will show that you're very unique. And that's how basically you do your demo. And after that, we understand who you are with your intro. We understand the problem you solve, what's your value proposition, solution, and the product. And that's half of the work is done. So if we are excited at this level, it's amazing. Now we're like, okay, it looks good. Let's see how it works in practice. What's the business side of it? And so you will transition to the second main part of the pitch, that is the business part. So now you will talk about your market. And this is the order I recommend. You will find it in the structure below. I will share the summary. First, you start with the playground. And the playground is the market. Rather than using the basic market slides that look very untrustworthy because all the markets are growing. Any market data like that you find online is not really useful in the end because it's adapted enough to you and it's made to look good. It's growing. So it's not going to get any additional points if you do that. Instead, what you can do is focus on the target users. So you will try to identify the type of users that you are selling to or that you are engaging or acquiring. For instance, here for Crypto Fantasy League, they had the Legends traders on the left, they had the fantasy sports users on the right, and in the middle, that's where they are niche 2.5 million potential players. Lootco did something slightly different that I really like because they compare themselves with very famous Web2 app, Pokemon Go. They use the number of users of Pokemon Go to show how big the market is. And then they compare themselves with the Pokemon Go of crypto, which shows unconsciously again that they are made for a big growth. So I really like this tool. I used it in a few pitches as well. It's like you compare yourself with something super famous and you're like, with this, but for crypto. And this is how you identify your market in a very simple way, more focused on the users than on big numbers. Once there is a market, this is your playground. We need to understand how you capture value, and this is your business model. So, of course, all the slides here are 100% mandatory in your pitch. Like, you cannot have a 3-minute pitch for Cypherpunk if you don't have a business model slide. So, how do you generate revenue? And of course, you can have a few streams. For instance, here, like paid promotion, platform fee, copy trading, 2-3 channels of revenue, and just how much you capture, and that's it. So don't miss the slides, make it simple. Now we are in the business part of the pitch, but we are still in the conceptual part of the pitch because you're just talking about markets, you're talking about a business model, but now you enter the very last part, the most strategic part, that is the traction. So we need to see in the last few weeks, how did you engage users and what is the data here? So we need to see 2, 3, 4 main data points, and we need to see a graph that is growing fast. That's all we need to see. You can add some testimonials like tweets on the right, for instance, but if you have enough traction, you don't need public testimonials. You usually use public tweets if someone's super famous in the ecosystem tweeted about you, or if you don't have many users, so you want to use that. But if you have good traction, you don't need that. So you want to isolate the most relevant data. So for instance, you have here a very common one that is the number of users, like the signups. You have in-app data. For instance, if you go more deep, it means if you have a few weeks to identify user behaviors and you're able to talk about retention, that's really good. Here, Ludgo said they have 10 times better retention than the average for mobile games. And you need to use data that no one can argue with, no one can doubt. It's really important. If you had some interest or attention, there is value in it. The more you go to the revenue, the better. Unique visitors, then you have maybe a wait list. And then once your product MVP is ready, you have signups. And with signups, you have behavior data about users and maybe revenue. So in this order, this part is the most important. It's the best. So if you have 2 or 3 data on this side, you don't need to talk about X followers or visitors. But at first, when you start, you can use that. You can also have the ecosystem validation slide showing that you made partnerships with interesting projects, but not just a logo partnership, but a real partnership you can talk about. What did you really do together? And that's showing that it's really helping your product development or features or activations, for instance. But that will show that you made your work in terms of being outside, being in the ecosystem. And that's actually really important. After that, you have traction. So not only you have something interesting, there is a solid business model. You have early traction. You also know where you're going. And this is like the last part of the deck. You have your growth strategy. So how will you acquire users? So you can talk about acquisition channels, how you will get to your, let's say, first 100,000 users, or how will you get to 1 million users, and so on. You made your homework, you know exactly what's working, and you're going to push this direction to make it happen. All right, here we are. Then you have a roadmap. Sometimes you can combine roadmap and growth strategy if you unlock some acquisition channels in different quarters. Very important here on the roadmap, something simple again, like not a series of bullet points below each part, because we cannot read. So use the one on the top right is a really good example. Like each quarter, something big happening. It's easy to follow where you're going and you know where you're going. Very important as well to write the real time, not step 1, step 2, step 3, but real dates. Quarter level is usually good enough. And this is where, as I shared earlier, you can talk in the future tense. We need to see who is working on this project, but we don't need to know each member of the team, what they are doing, and so on. Instead, you want to highlight a key fact of your team. So here for a CFL, they highlighted something that they previously built a game that had 320K users, which means, okay, those guys know how to build a game that get traction. So we trust them. For LootGo, the highlight was that they got an advisor from Pokemon Go, like a game design advisor. So if they are able to get an advisor from the top company, it also proves that they're able to engage important stakeholders and they have the best advisors. So it's also showing something unique we can remember. You need to find in your team, what can you claim from your past? What can you claim from your past that will make us believe that you know how to deliver this solution? Very good. Cold these days. And you finish with a call to action. So call to action, you want to earn extra time of attention. So you can definitely put some QR code leading to something like book a discovery call with us or check this longer video of the demo. Basically, if the judge is interested, you can continue to get the interest and lead to a next step that you think is interesting. Or it can be sign up and try our product in 2 minutes or something like that. And then you will wrap up your pitch and close your pitch properly. When that's in 3 minutes, it's totally doable. If you follow these principles, simple slides, the right structure and order. Here in the summary, but I think now you got it, like intro and hook, problem, solution, value proposition, features, technology or demo, the market, the business model, the traction, the roadmap, the team, and the call to action. Once you get it right and when you feel comfortable, you can sometimes change the order. For instance, if you have something really strong on your team slide, you want to put it at the very first so that we instantly trust you. But if you're starting this exercise, first follow this framework and then practice it, and then you can play around. In terms of traction, before I go to Q&A, this is what you want to check when you start. Unique visitors, it shows that you have interest. If your solution is not ready, it's really important to have a landing page with a wait list so that you start engaging testers. Once you're ready, you can have signups and active users. Of course, revenue is the best. If you're able to say that you already closed a big deal or a B2B client, or that you already generate revenue through a fee business model. On-chain data, maybe like the number of wallets that connected, number of transactions of your program, something unique to you, like a number of game played or anything related to only your solution. And social proof, partners, tweets, and so on. But social proof is not the strongest one. So if you have the first one, you don't need that. And just to conclude, I'd like to invite you to check out Legend. Many projects from Cypherpunk, around 100 now, and 600 users and 3,000 unique visitors are on the platform. They are checking like what's hot on Solana. They're checking the best teams competing in Cypherpunk. And each product listed get between 100 to 500 views. So it's also helping a lot on getting visibility and proving your traction. So feel free to have a look and to join the community of Legends. Thank you, guys. You can check resources online as well. If you go to the breakouts, you can check all the videos of the winning pitches. Really good to check that so you know what's the best practice. You can check also the Pitch Academy blog, depitch.academy/blog. There are a few articles I wrote there about how to make a great pitch, like a continuation of what I said today. I'm going to open up for Q&A. I think it's a framework that you cannot find easily. So I'm happy to make it public and accessible to as many users as possible so that you compete with the best gears and then you can make it to a victory. And I still believe it's a cheat code. Essentially 10, 20% of the teams are really putting the right intention in their pitch. So if you use that, you already increase your chances a lot.
Exactly. Like some of the things are obvious, but sometimes you just need someone to say it to you loudly. And it's a good reminder as well, right? Going for a walk is good for you, and making sure you're sticking to the rules is also important. And it's just basics. I think you really went deep, and I think it's going to help a lot. There were some students or some builders that requested this, and I don't know if they're online now. There are a couple of questions here, though. Someone wanted to have a copy of your slides. Is that available?
I can link. There is one of them.
Nice.
I can send it in the chat now if you want.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll chuck it in the Telegram group as well. Traction, the weakest link in my path. Yeah, Quantazal is building something that he's not doing a lot of social media, even though he's been attending all of our sessions. It's one of those things that you either need to hire someone or get good at being a spokesperson for your own product, right? It needs to be done. Without traction, it's like the tree falling in the forest, right? No one really hears it except for the people that were there. So he might have the best product, but people really need to use it to find out that it's good. What can be good?
I agree. Actually, getting good traction is not really linked to your pitch. It's more like your branding, how you can get attention, how you can have a really good flow that people come to discover your platform and they're like, oh, it looks so cool. I want to be in, and they engage. So that's something you do more with your product than with your pitch. And I don't recommend hiring anyone to do your pitch for you. We really need to see the founder authenticity. But at the same time, it's an exercise that with good work, you can start to master. And really, I tell you, I saw people being really terrible at pitching. They hated the exercise. They think it's not for me. To really mastering their pitch with practice. And once you master it and it works and you win, then you feel so proud of yourself. And then you're like, oh, now I can use pitch a lot. And people are telling you, oh my God, it was a really cool pitch. So yeah, take it as a challenge, but it's not a challenge you can avoid, in my opinion, if you want to build a successful company. Of course, if you have a co-founder that is more confident with this exercise, it works. But if you're a solo founder, you will never be able to hire someone to do it for you at this stage. So you need to put the work yourself.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Christopher saying, I appreciate your time. It's 4 a.m. in New York City, hard to talk. Okay, good. Thank you, Christopher, for your feedback. We'll take a snapshot of this one and check it on your website. This is the testimonial you were talking about, right? That's amazing. Thank you so much. It's gone past an hour now, but really appreciate you supporting us. I'm sure some people have joined legends.fun already. If you haven't, go check out legends.fun and sign up.
I will make a code for your community. I will make an invite code for Hakaru community and I will send over so that you can share with the builder.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, pass that over and I'll add it in. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for your time and giving us a workshop or a masterclass on pitching. Good luck to everyone. Hopefully you got something out of it. And we'll see you tomorrow for another day of workshops. Thanks, Sophia. See you.
And you will win. See you again. Cheers.